Hi, hello. Welcome to another episode of Isaiah's Newsstand. It's your host, Isaiah Edwards. The date is March 9th, 2023. How the heck are ya? Hopefully you're doing well. Hopefully, this episode finds you in good spirits, high hopes, all that. Um, Gosh golly. As for me, we're gonna say lukewarm. It's been an okay week. I'd say even a good week. I definitely say I have one of those mood shifts sometimes where like you just kind of go into good and then somehow like being too contemplative or whatever, or a couple situations stack funny and you just get upset. So that's kind of happened for me, but trying to do the adult thing and cope properly. I don't know, maybe that's totally the wrong words to use, whatever. But we're doing good overall. Overall, we're good, we're solid, and that's what's up. Food corner. I feel like we're kind of sparse this week. Yeah, not much to report. Um, Man, I'm gonna. Oh, I have been doing this thing. I've been picking up these pastas from the Kroger, and one I got was lasagna, cheese filled like pasta things. So essentially, you boil up the pasta. It's got them inside, and then it's like lobster and cheese, and in a pasta pocket. It's amazing. So I got that. I think the other week, last week, and then this week I got and tried the Italian sausage in the pasta pockets. And what I've been doing is I'll make like my normal little bit of pasta, a little elbow pasta, and then put those Italian pasta things in there too. And let it cook, let it cook. Then I'll add some ground beef, do red sauce, and voila, that's my meal of a day. And I gotta say, this was as tasty. I would definitely try either again. And actually, I bought like the bigger bag of the Italian sausage ones because I kind of just knew it was gonna be a hit. So I'll have that again for sure. That's the meal. Everything else has kind of been a bit of a nothing burger, snoozeville. So yeah, we can go ahead and get into some news. We can go ahead and hit it up. Let's start from the top. I usually like to start at the top of the key with any like Ukraine updates, things like that. So we can go ahead and do that right now from the Associated Press. Russian missile barrage slams into Ukrainian cities. 6 dead. So I mean, we've covered missile strikes before from Russia. They've gone back. They've gone, back and forth. Um, but this one is a little bit bigger and of note just because of the fact that there were like 80 Russian missiles and a smaller number of exploding drones. And sadly, of course, they hit residential buildings and also critical infrastructure. This took place Thursday and killed 6 people. Um, let's see, and then leaving hundreds of thousands without heat or electricity. Also, another big important part about this missile strike is that once again, the Zaporizhzhia plant has been hit, and that's something we've covered before in previous podcast news. It is a big nuclear plant, at least in terms of just like the European kind of scene. And of course, you would think something like this would be like almost like a demilitarized zone or something like that. But sadly, it was something that like Russia came through hot to try to take over and control, and then it's been contested. And then I think it's still under Russian. I actually am not quite sure, but last time I checked, it was under Russian control still. But I guess they did strikes that actually hit the reactors. Or not reactors. I'm sorry, it hit the power grid. But now they're running on diesel to keep the nuclear reactors powered because they need to be constantly cooled. Otherwise, you're gonna have a nuclear catastrophe. So that's a bad scene. Um, and then I did want to kind of cover the actual loss of life. Three men and two women were killed in the western region of Liev, after a missile struck a residential area. Governor Maxim Kensky said 3 buildings were destroyed by fire, and rescue workers combed through rubble looking for more possible victims. A 6th person was killed and 2 others wounded in multiple strikes in Dnipropetrovsk. Oh gosh, yeah, I botched that one. Sorry. That region. So I mean, yeah, not good. No good. It's one of those things where I'm sure that sadly we're only going to see more of this in a ramp up as spring comes, as ice thaws. Still in Bakhmut, there's still a lot of action. That still seems to be a lot of like the focus of the front, but at the same time, it's still considered a small area, and it's kind of like, okay, the Wagner Group and also like some other forces as well are there. That's still like an active situation as well, but something that came up this week that was definitely interesting to me. Another update. I love giving up updates. From the Insider, pro-Ukrainian group blew up controversial Russian gas pipelines, but it's unclear who sent them, reports say. So, like I said, we've covered the Nord Stream pipeline situation before. There was Nord Stream 1, there was Nord Stream 2, and Nord Stream 2 had recently been completed, but it hadn't been put in use yet, and then everything happened with the invasion, with the war, and that, okay, no good. Nord Stream 1 was a main pipeline that had been built. It was this like underwater fucking pipeline that stretched across, and it was just like a huge like energy oil pipeline lifeline kind of situation from Russia into Europe, more or less. I think it was through Germany, but obviously correct me if I'm wrong there, whatever. But this was a big deal pipeline. It was a big deal situation. Russia at a certain point last year, they started playing around. They're over here saying, "Oh, we gotta work on the pipeline. Oh, we gotta do this, so the flow's gonna get cut." And we had kind of already seen the writing on the wall that this was inevitable. Like, we're gonna have to cut this out. All these sanctions are coming down on them. They don't like that. This is their bargaining chip. They're gonna play around with it. So, next thing you know, though, before this is even getting resolved, it's getting fucking blown up. So this naturally led to a lot of speculation on all sides. There were not a lot of answers. And I can't exactly remember what past Isaiah said. But I'm sure past Zay, he straddled the line a little bit. Said, hey, it could be Russia. It could be maybe even the U.S. Who knows? And, did the usual rigmarole that a news commentary podcaster guy is probably going to do, right? I mean, I hope. We can only pray that that's what past Isaiah did. But I guess that what's come out now is that a pro-Ukrainian group was responsible for the undersea sabotage of the Nord Stream pipelines last September, according to new intelligence reviewed by U.S. officials that was first reported by the New York Times. And I believe it was to Germany. Sorry, you guys know I do a little pregame, and my memory's a little bit hazy. But yeah, a German newspaper, Die Zeit, also reported that the investigators believe they've located the yacht used in the operation. And this is where I was like, I'm fully piqued. Because you're telling me not only do we not know the name of this mysterious organization, it was Ukrainian, but like we didn't know, the Ukrainian government's not claiming it. And then of course the US government, we don't know how we know, but we know, we know, but we didn't know. Okay, we couldn't have seen this coming, of course. But these guys, they bought a yacht. They bought a fucking yacht, and for some reason, the second I heard yacht, my brain goes like full Miami Vice mode, and I completely repicture how this whole thing went in my head. Because I'm thinking, okay, this is like a government military thing. I'm thinking like either like Kremlin or like I don't know, insert military group here, like the Navy, SOCOM, I don't fucking know. They're doing some Call of Duty shit. That's how I pictured it. And now I'm picturing this like ragtag separatist style group, probably in like camo out or whatever, on a yacht. Once again, kind of still Call of Duty, but different sides, I guess. I don't know. And so yeah, it kind of changed my whole perspective on this whole situation. And I'm like, okay. And I mean, granted, this is giving me more questions than answers in a way, because I'm like, I mean, how much did we know? You know, and also, are we saying no, or are we saying, are we involved? Obviously, now we're moving into the Isaiah speculation corner again. Present day popping off. Um, I don't know, but I do find this all interesting. Like I said, the Ukrainian government is saying, "Hey, look," and I'll read a quote from an advisor to Vladimir Zelensky, which goes, "Although I enjoy collecting amusing conspiracy theories about the Ukrainian government, I have to say." Ukraine has nothing to do with the Baltic Sea mishap and has no information about pro-Ukraine sabotage groups. Uh, that was said in a tweet. So naturally, they're washing their hands of this. I'll read a little bit more because I am kind of stuck on this. 6 people took part in the operation, according to Dizet, including the vessel captain, 2 divers, 2 diving assistants, and a doctor. So I guess that's how many people it takes to blow up a pipeline. That would be a terrible joke. Officials who've seen the new intelligence believe the perpetrators were most likely Ukrainian or Russian nationals or a combination of both, the Times says. So, they're throwing out the salad. They're doing the thing. So, yeah, this is neat to me, interesting. Wanted to, climb up from this toehold that we've talked about and covered here. And now we're going to move to the States. Something I haven't covered, and that's an L on my part. That's my bad. But we're going to do a little bit of catch up, I guess. From ABC 7 News. 12 have died since snowstorm cut off towns in San Bernardino Mountains, officials say. So there's been some pretty extreme weather that's been taking place on the tail end of like February. And it's essentially just been really like, I don't want to say freak. I think rare is kind of the better word to use. But essentially this blizzard weather has like blown through Southern California. It's also led to like colder temperatures throughout California, like rain, all kinds of shit. Something about this that always is kind of like, it reminds me of how big California is that like they literally experience a whole spectrum of weather on a whole state. And like as an Ohioan, my little Ohio small town ass can't handle that. I just really don't. It takes a bit to load that in. So I've been hearing like people complain like, oh, it's been so cold, oh, our houses are paper thin, oh, I'm like, okay, yeah, but you have like nice sun and like nice weather, and like, yeah, sure, pollution sucks and like traffic, but like you guys live great, enjoy your latte. uh but clearly this is real weather. It's fucking shitty, and it's super sad that 12 people died. So that definitely made me go, okay, shit, let me back up, let me backpedal and cover this, because I do like to cover weather news when it happens, when it hits like a certain point. And I know it's kind of like shitty news guy mentality, but like I said, I really was thinking like, oh yeah, it's just California's complaining about the weather, until you see like, oh shit, like people are really getting snowed in their cars. There was one story I read about a man who, like, he was, I guess he got stuck in his car. I don't know, maybe the traffic was that bad, but he had to eat croissants to survive. But granted, hey, he made it, he survived, so hell yeah, flowers. Sourdough to him, because I'm sure he's sick of bread. I don't know, give him condolences, give him flowers. Awesome. But yeah, so San Bernardino dealing with some snowfall. Also, an add-on that I've heard too is that, okay, it's warmed up a bit, but now another rain is coming, I think, this weekend. So like they're worried that like it's gonna lead to like weather landslides and shit. So I'm like, goddamn, shit's crazy. Um, I think obviously I always am gonna be that guy. Like, global warming. Where is it fitting in here? Oh, well, I mean, hey, it's February. That's snow, right? There you go. Also, there's some people who are like, oh yeah, they needed this. Like, it's good for their snowbank. Like, it's good for the mountains. They needed that. But the problem is, it's too much out of nowhere. Then mixed with like long periods of drought that are gonna take place. That's just fucking no good. It's gonna ruin the whole thing. It's gonna muck it all up and make things worse. Also, hearing that like, okay, all of this water, all of this new growth is going to happen. That sounds great until it potentially just burns off within like a year's time and then starts wildfires and shit. So yeah, not to be like too like, namby-pamby dystopian or whatever, but shit is happening. And sadly, these rare blizzard occurrences and shit are going to become more and more common. And that's no good. So we don't like that. We can go ahead and move along now. I'm done being a weatherman. From CBS News, 2 Americans dead, 2 rescued, and back in U.S. after Mexico kidnapping. Ooh, so I'm gonna hit it a little early here. Also, maybe a bit of a trigger warning in advance, just because of subject matter. We're talking like, some graphic stuff, murder wise, I guess you can say, or what have you. In case I get too into this conversation talking about it, I don't want to like ick anybody out. I'm sure if you give me like 5 or 10 minutes, I'll get to the wrap up here and then we'll call it a day. But yeah, want to let you guys know that. But we'll read the start here. 2 of the 4 U.S. citizens who went missing after a violent kidnapping in Mexico last week have been found dead, and 2 are alive, Mexican and U.S. authorities said Tuesday. Let's see. I did have the names here. Gotta find them. Get through these ads. But I mean, essentially, the reason for these Americans being there was essentially what people are calling medical tourism. One of the people, she wanted to get a tummy tuck, and obviously, essentially in the States, that's going to be an expensive procedure. It's a lot of cosmetic, economics you got to go through there. But if you go down, below the border, you're essentially paying a hell of a lot less. And I know a lot of people are asking, well, why did this person go to specifically Matamoros, a place which I believe is like a level 4 emergency? Like, there's advising people not to go there. Why would she go to this place specifically? There's other places she could have picked. But I guarantee you it's because the price was just too good. And in this situation, you're trying to maximize the bang for your buck. And I think, Brown, sorry, I don't have her. There you go. I found the names. Sorry. I had to go to this article. Mexico Security Secretary identified the surviving Americans as Latavia Tay McGee and Eric James Williams. Earlier, CBS News learned the other 2 Americans were identified as Zindell Brown and Shaeed Woodard. I believe Latavia is the person who was getting the... let me just go ahead and keep reading before I have to go to corrections corner on my own self. Zelandria Brown said Zindell Brown, who lives in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, and 2 friends were with a 3rd friend who is going to Mexico for a tummy tuck cosmetic surgery. So they go down and they're in a minivan and they have the North Carolina plates. And when they get into Matamoros, I believe there's already a shooting taking place. There's like a shootout taking place in this area. And 2 people are shot and killed. And then in this whole like gunfire, the group, this cartel group, which I believe is the Scorpions, that's like the name of this group, they pick up all four of the people, two of which you can tell at this point I believe are dead, and which is obviously really sad because like the family are seeing this and they're literally talking about like they just treated my my person, they treated them like cattle, like they like picked them up, they picked everyone up, they were dragging people and just throwing them into a car and like going. um and I believe they took them to like four different areas. They were eventually found though, um, and I think they were in like a shack or something like that. And the two people were able to get sent to an international like bridge area and then sent to a hospital. I believe one was shot in the leg. So I mean, this was just a fucking foobar situation. And it's really sad and it's really fucking scary. Obviously, as a person who, I don't want to say I'm like scared of travel. I just find the whole idea of it to just be a net negative. Like, yes, getting to your destination. Yes, getting memories. Amazing, awesome, great, doing a thing in the situation. Because I'm not going to knock medical tourism. Maybe some people have a fucking chip on their shoulder about that. But look at where we are as Americans. Like, the price of doing anything is insane. And when we're talking about the medical field, it is astronomically high. It's crazy to think like if you like chip a tooth, the thousands of dollars you have to pay to get that fucking shit fixed. That's a personal story. The idea of like, and don't get me wrong, when we're talking cosmetic surgeries, people go, oh, this is a vanity thing. You didn't need to do it. It's not worth the risk, da 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 da. But like the idea of what is a cosmetic surgery or a procedure, like that's a longer list than I think people really understand. And they don't get it until they go through a certain issue. And even if we're not talking about these things and you want to play around with morals, fuck that, dude. At the end of the day, you want to get something done, you want to get something done. And you shouldn't have to like pay these astronomical prices to do it. So it's just crazy that something like this, it led to what has unfolded. It's super fucking sad, and I'm sure there's gonna be more to come out from it, and even more of an aftermath. Because I mean, I feel this goes without saying, but and this isn't me being braggadocious to any of my international listeners. I'm sure they could come back and say, yeah, like Americans do walk around like this. But like there's a certain kind of like star power that happens when you are an American. And this isn't me speaking from experience because I don't even bother with having a fucking passport. I ain't trying to leave these fucking states. I know how we look. But like there is the idea that like if you are an American abroad, people should not fuck with you. Because if they do fuck with you, they gotta be a fucking nation with a lot of fucking money. They gotta have a lot of fucking scratch in the game. Otherwise, there's gonna be a lot of fucking heat on their head. Everyone knows that. Like, no one wants those fucking issues. And cartels, especially when you're a criminal, you know this shit by the book. You know that there is a cause and effect when an American dies and it's on you. So it doesn't really matter kind of how this whole situation started, where, obviously these are like random acts of violence and people getting caught in the middle or whatever. At the end of the day, you don't want that heat, and you want these 4 or 5 stars to go down to 2, 3 stars. At the very least, we need that. You know what I mean? So I think that's why at the end of the day, these guys immediately picked up the bodies and like tried to kind of throw people off, kind of try to like do a little bit of like Fox and the Hound, and then said, okay, we're giving up, yada, yada, yada. And it's going to lead us also into the next bit here that I want to talk about, a little bit of the aftermath. Letter claims cartel handed over men who killed Americans. This is from the Associated Press. And essentially, I believe initially there was one man who was arrested, with the four people, and also the 2 remaining victims in the situation. They were sent home in hearses. I think it just took a couple more days. So definitely it was crazy to see the movement of like FBI, all the government officials. But like I said, you're immediately activated, and Mexico's like our backyard. So, um, the add-on to this was there was this whole letter. So I'll try to read some of it. Maybe I might get into it, get all of it. I don't know. We have decided to turn over those who are directly involved and responsible in the events, who at all times acted under their own decision making and lack of discipline. Oh, excuse me. Um, and then adding that those individuals had gone against the cartel's rules, which include respecting the life and well-being of the innocent. You definitely got to call a little bit of BS on that. Obviously, don't come for me, cartels, but there's a little bit of too much collateral damage here to kind of say that, in my opinion. Also, it does kind of go into this too, where there is a soft hard to this, where like you're gonna see a letter from a side saying, "Oh yeah, like we made a mistake. This is fucked up." But then you'll also see other cartel factions or the same cartel factions given a different part of the timeline. Um, they'll go and put bodies in it, and almost like it's like they're bragging about it. They're like saying, "Hey, we did this." Maybe for different reasons or what have you, but for them, they definitely are trying to de-escalate, is what this looks like. Also, it's added that a Mexican woman was also killed in this crossfire. Ireli Pablo Servando. She was also killed by a stray bullet. So yeah, I mean, the letter is definitely like okay, that's an interesting twist. Um, but it's not going to do too much. I think the wheels are definitely going to be in motion. There's definitely going to be a lot of probably bust down behavior, and shit's going to probably quiet down for a little bit. But I definitely thought that was surprising. It's something I hadn't seen. Like I'd seen the whole thing about bodies being like hung up and all that kind of gross, detestable shit. But not the letter. The letter was an interesting touch. So that's pretty much all I want to talk about there on the gruesome, gross shit. For the final bit, I wanted to, I guess, kind of get on the discourse kind of as it's happening. Let's see. I'm going to take an extra break here. Call it a palate cleanser. I'm riffing this off of a Dextro, which is like a gaming kind of news. I'm gonna use a little italics here. It's like the New York Post of no Kotaku is like the New York Post of gaming news, but it's like that kind of vein. But let's see. From Dextro, in his latest video, Mr. Beast gave 20,000 kids in South Africa their first pair of shoes. So I went ahead and watched this video. It's like a quick little 4-minute thing. You can watch it on his, what is it? He has his own main channel where he does all this crazy shit. But then he also has like a Beast philanthropy or Beast charity kind of thing. And essentially it's all in the art. It's all in the title there. He teams up with some people. He makes some shit happen. A lot like, given, 1,000 people sight or whatever. He just gets a bunch of these shoes made and gets them to a bunch of South African kids. And I think that's a cool thing. I think that's nice. Now, the discourse that's kind of gone on here is that this is some kind of charity porn. And that this is a kind of exploitation that only a person with money like Mr. Beast can do, and that it's not right that he is profiting off of this. It's not okay, and that it's actually problematic that he's gotten kids these shoes. I think that's a weird fucking hill to die on. I get it. It's unsettling. And not to mention, I think it's cringe to get mad about this when like the previous thing he did like literally like a week or two ago was like, oh hey guys, if you guys see any of my like feastable chocolates askew in the chocolate aisle, you could like clean them up for the Walgreens employees. That would help everything out. And it's like, huh? That's literally a job, dog. They don't like, I'm not doing that for free. I don't like you that much. Like, but I could totally see some fucking poor sap being like, oh, I bet, what if like Mr. Beast like watches me do this and like he gives me like $1,000 and like that changes my life. I don't know. I thought that was kind of a bit odd, a bit weird. I was fine for people eating his ass out on that. But at the end of the day, I don't see anyone else stepping up to give shoes to kids like this. You know what I mean? Even fucking the motherfucking Tom's company is 1-for-1. That's all they were fucking doing, giving them burlap joints. At least these motherfuckers look like loafers. Like, and then people are like complaining about, oh, that's not even enough. He's got to do more. It's like, I don't like. You can't make these motherfuckers happy, and at the end of the day, I don't feel like it's about Mr. Beast. And honestly, what is the win here if you win this subquest of making Mr. Beast not do this? He will still make money doing the other dumb, weird torture porn shit he puts like normal civilians through. Like, oh yeah, stay in this house for a month and I'll give you like a bunch of money. Stand in a circle with these weirdos and I'll give you a bunch of money. Like, yes, he is finding a way to profit off this shit, but like that's capitalism, baby. Like, I really feel like if you have a big problem with this, it's not worth it to go into Discord threads or like flip off emoji Mr. Beast. I don't get that. I think it makes more sense to like figure out like how do we like make capitalism not this, or like, I don't know, crazy fucking level thought. How do we like, I don't know, maybe let's go beyond capitalism. I don't know. I don't want to get too out of pocket. But maybe what I'm saying is like, it's more of a systematic issue than like a Mr. Beast issue that I feel like people are really upset about. Because I get it. There's a knee-jerk reaction to be like, there's something weird about this. Like, there's a reason to me that I just wasn't turned on to Mr. Beast until I want to say like what, a year or so ago, because like I'm just not into it. Like, it's just not my thing. I think the first Mr. Beast video I might have watched was like the Squid Game one, because I just had finished Squid Game and that kind of made sense. I think he made a Squid Game video. They all are kind of just like whatevers to me. Like, he's a big money guy doing big money shit, and it's like, well, you know, you give Elon Musk shit, and I'm like, yeah, because I feel like Elon Musk is one of the things that you see more often. You see more Elon Musk than you see Mr. Beast. And also, Mr. Beast is like a 24-year-old kid who like grew up on the fucking internet. Like, Elon Musk is some like South African diamond mine hoarder family rich kid who like leveled off of being lucky. I just feel like they're a little different. So I'm rooting for like the Carolina kid. My bad. But that's all I pretty much got for the day. Thank you for listening to me rant for probably way too long. Okay, I'm okay with that. I ran a decent amount and I'm satisfied with it. If you'd like to help out the cause, that is Isaiah's Newsstand, I have a Patreon, patreon.com/Isaiah News. You get bonus episode access. You get a quick link to the Discord to get to talking. We're talking about food in there. I'm showing food. We're talking about food. Ugh, I love it. I'm so excited that like it's finally going and people are chit chatting. Like, that's lit. And also I try to also post other things too, news I might miss, things like that. Let's see. Also, you can become a newsie, and that gets you a shout out once a month, and you can plug whatever you want once a month. So that's a thing. That's cool. Yeah, $5. Give it to me, please. It helps. Ooh. Free ways though to hit me up. Contact the pod. gmail.com/Isaiah, not slash. IsaiahNews1@gmail.com. I think that's how you do emails. It's been a while. And then I'm also on all the socials where I'm gibbing and gabbing and sharing memes and doing things. Facebook, Twitter, should be pretty easy to find. So yeah, that's all I got. Hopefully I see you soon for some more good news. I love ya. Bye-bye. Mwah.